In this video, we are going to talk about box and whisker plots. Our goal is to create and analyze box and whisker plots representing a set of data. In descriptive statistics, a box and whisker plot is a type of chart used to visually show the distribution of data by displaying the data quartiles. This is what a box and whisker plot looks like. It's literally made up of a box with two whiskers on either side. Box and whisker plots show 5 numbers, which we call the 5-number summary of a set of data, which includes the lowest value, which is the left-hand whisker, Q1, which is the lower quartile or the first quartile. That's the median of the lower half of the data. Then we have the median, which is a line in the middle of the box. We have the upper quartile, or the third quartile, Q3, which is the right-hand side of the box, and that's the median of the upper half of the data. And then we have the highest value, or the maximum value, which is the end of the right-hand whisker. To make a box and whisker plot, we divide our data into quartiles. The first quartile is the 25th percentile. That means that 25% of the data is equal to or below the first quartile, meaning that this first left-hand whisker represents 25% of the data values. The second quartile is the median, which is the 50th percentile. 50% of the data falls at or below the median. And the distance between Q1 and Q2 contains 25% of the data as well. So that left-hand side of the box contains 1/4 of the data values. Q3, or the third quartile, is the 75th percentile. So 75% of the data falls at or below Q3. And this second side of the box also represents 25% of the data values. And then from the maximum and below, we have another 25% of the data values. Now we'll talk about how to create a box and whisker plot. Next class, I'm going to show you how to use technology using Desmos to help you find some of these values, but first I'm going to show it by hand. The steps are going to be, you're going to have a list of numbers, and you first need to order them from smallest to largest. So you're going to put your data values in order from least to greatest, because the next step is finding the median. And remember, when we find the median of a list of numbers, they have to be in order from least to greatest. So the median we'll find just like we always do. It's the middle number. If you have an odd number of data values, you'll have 2 middle numbers. If they're an even number of data values, we add them together, divide by 2. Next, you're going to find the first quartile. This is the median of the lower half of the data, or the median of the data falling below and not including the median. Then you're going to find the third quartile, which is the median of the upper half of the data, the median of the data falling above and not including the median. And then next, you'll find the minimum and maximum values, the lowest number and the highest number. Then you're going to create a number line with a constant scale and evenly spaced intervals. And then you'll draw your box and whisker plot with those 5 values, our 5-number summary: the minimum, Q1, the median, Q3, and the maximum. You'll put them in the corresponding places on the number line and create your box and whisker plot. Let's look at an example. Consumer Reports did a study of ice cream bars and included the calorie count of the rated ice cream bars. The calorie counts for 22 vanilla-flavored bars are shown below. For our convenience, these numbers are already ordered from least to greatest, so we don't have to put this list in order from least to greatest. But if your list of numbers is not in order from least to greatest, make sure you do that first. Now we're going to find the median. There are 22 data values. To find the position of the median, I'm going to use that formula n plus 1 divided by 2, which tells us where to find the median. We have 22 numbers, so 22 plus 1 divided by 2 gives us 23 over 2, which is 11.5. That means the median falls between the 11th and 12th data values. So I'm going to go to my list of numbers and find my 11th and 12th data values. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 209 is my 11th, and 234 is my 12th. And since I have an even number of numbers, I do have two middle numbers, so I take those two numbers, I add them together, and divide by 2 to get the median. That gives me 221.5. So that is my median. Now, my next step, we found the median. We're going to find Q1. Q1, or the first quartile, is the median of the lower half of the data. So I'm going to take the first half of the numbers up into, but not including the median, and the median was 221.5, so that's not going to be included. That's my first 11 numbers, and I'm going to find the median of those 11 numbers. Now, if I do 11 plus 1 divided by 2, 12 divided by 2 is 6. So my sixth number is going to be the median of that lower half. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 182 is going to be Q1. And now I'm going to find, so I did the Q1. Now I need to find Q3, which is the median of the upper half of the data values. So I'm going to take these upper 11 numbers and find their median. And again, it's going to be the sixth number in that list, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I get 319. So that is my Q3. And then we find the minimum and maximum values. So the lowest number is the minimum. That's 111. And the highest number, 439, is the maximum, or the highest value. Now that we've completed our 5-number summary, we are going to make our box and whisker plot. So the next step is to make a number line where we have a constant scale. So I'm going to, at the bottom of my page, I'm going to do my best to make a nice straight line. And I need to put a scale on here that includes all of my numbers. My numbers range from 111 to 439. So I could go from 0 to 500. I could go from 100 to 500, 100 to 450. It's up to you, as long as you include all the numbers, and you want to pick a scale that's easy to count by. We don't want to count by like an awkward number. We want to count by like tens, 50s, hundreds, something that will be nice and easy, and you want your scale to be constant. So I think I'm going to go from 100 to 500, and that will include all my numbers. And if I go right in the middle of 100 and 500, that's where I would put 300. And then right in the middle of 100 and 300, I would put 200. And in the middle of 300 and 500, 400. And then I'm going to put some tick marks in there to represent 150. I'm going to cut each of these in half. 250, 350, and 450. So right now I'm going by 50s, and in between these, if I do 4 little marks, 1, 2, 3, 4, those represent tens. So I start with 100, I've got 110, 120, 130, 140, and then 150. So 4 little marks, and I'm not even going to number them, I'm just going to put them there to help me when I go to make my box and whisker plot. So I'm putting 4 little marks in each interval and doing my best to make them evenly spaced. It's really important that you try hard to make your intervals evenly spaced, otherwise your chart is not going to look correct. Okay, so now after we've made our number line, we make the box and whisker plot. I like to start with my Q1. Q1 is 182. That's the left-hand side of my box. So I find 182 on my number line. Here's 200, here's 180, so right around there. And I make a vertical line like this. That's my Q1. Then I'm going to make the other side of the box, which is the upper quartile, or Q3. That's at 319, so right around 320, sorry, 320. But 319 would be maybe right there, Q3. And then I connect those to make my box. Okay. Now, in the middle, I'm going to put the median. 221.5 would maybe be about right here. And then now it's time for the whiskers. And so we use our minimum value to make the lower whisker, 111, which would be down here. And then I connect it to the box, and I have a whisker. And then my maximum value, 439, is up close to 440. Maybe about right there. And I connect that, and I have a box and whisker plot. Now, what this shows us is how the data is distributed. So remember that each section in every box and whisker, each of these 4 parts represents 25% of the data values. And when we see that one part looks bigger than another, like for example in that box, the left-hand section of the box is small and the right-hand section looks big. They represent the same number of data values, but the one where it's bigger means the data values are more spread out. The parts that are smaller means the data values are clustered closer together. One other thing that we're going to find is the inner quartile range, which tells us the spread of the middle half of the data. It's the difference between the third and first quartiles. So in this example, we are going to do Q3 minus Q1. Q3 was 319, if I remember correctly, and Q1 was 182. So I subtract those and I get 137. So the inner quartile range is the range of the box. So we call that IQR. So that middle 50% of the data has a range of 137, in this case, calories. Let's talk about interpreting this a little more. A quick glance at the box and whisker plot reveals the following. The box tells us where the middle half of the data lies. So we see that half of the ice cream bars have between 182 and 319 calories with an inner quartile range of 137 calories. The median is slightly closer to the lower part of the box. This means that the lower calorie counts are more concentrated. The calorie counts above the median are more spread out, indicating that the distribution is slightly skewed toward the higher values. So most of the lower calorie counts are clustered closer together in this lower section. The smaller parts mean those data values are closer together. These bigger parts mean these data values are more spread out, so those higher, we call outliers, skew the data. Okay, we're going to look at one more example where we interpret a box and whisker plot. Refer to the box and whisker graph below, which shows the test results of a math class. What is the highest score on the test? Well, the highest score is going to be the maximum value, 102. What percent of the students scored above a 72? Well, 72 is Q1, and remember that in every single box and whisker plot, each of the 4 parts represents 25% of the data values in every single one. So, what percent of the students scored above a 72? 75%. What was the median score on the test? That would be 88. It's the middle line in the box. What percent of the class scored between 88 and 96? Well, between 88 and 96 is between the median and Q3. And again, that's going to be 25% of the data values. Each section is always 25% of the data values. Determine the interquartile range. Remember, we call that IQR. We take Q3 minus Q1, and that would be 96 minus 72, which is 24. So that's the range of the middle 50% of the data right here. Do you think this test was too hard for the students? Explain. Well, the smaller parts of the box and whisker are on the right. The upper whisker is very small. The upper half of the box is small. The lower half of the box is more spread out, and then that lower whisker is really spread out. Each of those 4 parts represents the same number of data values. The smaller parts indicate that the data values are clustered closer together. So we have a lot of scores. 50% of the class scored above an 88. 75% of the class scored above a 72. So most of the class, 3/4 of the class, got like a C or higher. And then with that bottom whisker, we don't know exactly what the scores were. The scores could have mostly been like 70, 68, 69, and maybe just one person got a 38. We can't tell where the data values fall within there, but that 38 might be what we call an outlier, a much lower number that skews the data. So I would say no, it wasn't too hard because most kids got a C or a 72 or higher. Would you expect the mean to be above or below the median? I don't know if you guys remember when we were testing the mean, median, and mode when an outlier was included and when it wasn't. The measure of central tendency that is most susceptible to outliers or is skewed by outliers is the mean. So the existence of this really low number, 38, is going to skew the mean or bring the mean down low. Even if just one person got a 38, the mean is susceptible to those outliers and it's going to go down lower. So the mean is going to be below the median. So the median is not really susceptible to outliers, but the mean is. And again, when you have a longer chunk, it means the data values are more spread out, and on the left-hand side that happens. So we say that this data is skewed to the left. So the part where it's more stretched out, where you might have some outliers that skew the data.